Um, I was born in Evanston, Illinois, and I would say that most of my sense of my native cultures is still probably the Midwest and honestly the Chicago areas where most of my extended relatives are. But we left when I was young. We moved to D.C. area, to Gaithersburg, Maryland. And there I was really drawn into choir. I loved choir, and I would try out for the leads, the solos, but I would never get them. So I never thought I was particularly talented or good at music, but I always was drawn to it. So I never really pursued it in a major, which is you'll see contrast to my friend in music. But I instead throughout school I was especially once I moved from the DC area to Minnesota, and I experienced a major culture shock because I went from a very diverse, not just racial-wise, but socioeconomically as well, to a wealthy neighborhood outside of Minneapolis, and it was a really hard adjustment for me. And I got really involved in a lot of social justice issues. And that's really where I wanted to put my focus. And it wasn't until I got to university, I went to Colorado College. So after graduating high school in Minnesota, I went to the Colorado College. And there I was opened up to so many possibilities of things to learn about. And one of the things I saw immediately hanging on the wall of the cafeteria while I was eating one day was a sign that said, "Study Chinese in China." And this was when I was 18 years old. And I decided if my parents could help me afford it, I was going to do that. So I spent 7 weeks the summer after my freshman year in China, and just blown away by the gargantuan chasm of understanding and difference between perception of reality between what I was learning through the Chinese language and being in China and how I felt being there. So I really wanted to learn more about, when I came back to the States, I decided I really wanted to dedicate myself to understanding how to close the gap of how I felt so different, and how I wanted to explore how I could find ways to feel more connected, which really was a lingering piece of just a thread throughout my life of moving and wanting to find connection and struggling to find it, and finding my meaning in these new contrasted environments. And once I really dove into that, that place of bridge building between the two cultures, finding those bridges within myself, I just couldn't stop. And so when I found music in my life later in my university time, and I found I think it grew out of this longing I had to find common space. And when I was hearing Doc Watson, I heard a record of Doc Watson singing and playing Shady Grove on the old time banjo, clawhammer banjo style. I felt this Americanness in it that was so deep and ancient. Of course, as I've studied it more and more, I understand that it's the sounds of the native people, but even more the immigrants who came to America, and that mixing of all of those things. And it started to give me a sense more of my identity once I heard that music American, and it gave me a sense of something that could be shared across cultures, because I had heard this beautiful folk music in China as well. So I thought, well, maybe I study some of this folk music for my own American folk music, for my own sense of my identity as a country, a person who belongs to a nation and a country, and also as a person that wants to reach out and other specific. So it's like the banjo became like this amazing vehicle, not just the banjo, but this American early folk music became this vehicle for deep connection in China. And I'm so glad it came into my life, because I didn't really go search it. I think that I in life, and it's totally directed my path as I've gone forward in life. And now it's several decades since well, several decades, I say, when I was in my early 20s is when I really found that place in between where I wanted to exist and bridge and pursue self-understanding and a purpose, a role in helping others understand each other. And, and I still am passionate about it. I mean, these last 2 with COVID, I still went to school online for Chinese during the summers because it's where I want to be. It's what enlightens me about myself and about the world I live in. Mm-hmm.